Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the Shankly Sessions, and this is your Champions League final preview. Joining me, as always, on the previews, my brother in arms, Darren. How are we, Darren?
I'm doing great, Niall. Thanks very much.
Good, good. Huge match coming up this Saturday, 8 o'clock. Klopp versus Ancelotti.
Massive, man. Absolutely massive. Really, really looking forward to it, I have to say. It doesn't tend to be the case when you're not in the final yourself, but I'm really, really looking forward to Saturday night, I have to say. Going to sit down, open a nice bottle of something Scottish and enjoy myself with not having a horse in the race, you know what I mean?
Excellent. 41 years since the inaugural one in Paris. Well, 1981. 41 years. I was just looking back on that today. So,
and it kicked off in Paris, and we're back here now.
Back here again, 41 years later. The Reds, of course, seeking a 7th one. And obviously Real Madrid looking to win a 14th one. Unprecedented, unbelievable
14th. Scandalous, isn't it?
I won't tell you how many Barcelona fans hit me up today asking me to please beat Real Madrid. It's unbelievable. The last thing I expected, they came on to one of the groups I'm on, and they said, look, we're still suffering from you turning us over in Anfield that night, but please beat Real Madrid. And it kind of reminded me of the Spurs final when all the Arsenal fans became Liverpool fans to get us to beat Spurs. What did you make? Let's first of all talk about the pathway to the final. Obviously, interesting dynamic, really. We came through Inter Milan, Benfica, and Villarreal. One or two little scares on the way. If you remember, Perisic giving Trent a bit of a time, and obviously that first half in Villarreal in the away leg was a little bit sort of concerning, let's say, to say the least. But for Real Madrid, they've really showed their mettle the last 3 games. They've came back from the cliff 3 times to run out and get to this final. What you're making of the pathway to the final?
Yeah, I think obviously Liverpool had a slightly easier route to the final, you know. And I think when you're a team as good as Liverpool are, maybe you understand you have a bit in hand all the time. And that can sometimes come back to bite you. And it almost did on a couple of occasions. But, you know, you guys are just a far superior football team than Inter, than Benfica, and then Villarreal. And that that got you there, you know what I mean? I think European competition really, really suits Liverpool. I have done for quite a few years, you know. I think going to Anfield, teams really, really struggle there. And I think going away from home, Liverpool can be solid on the road if needs be, rather than flashy. But they can finish most teams off at home, you know. I think Real have been, you know, they've been so lucky in a sense to get where they've got. They've rolled their luck, but they've also shown amazing qualities in how they fought and, you know, how they got back into games and where they got goals from late on and stuff like that. And they're never say die attitude. And if I look at how they've got there, I can't help but think their name might be on the trophy, because I don't believe they get all the way to a final with how they've got there and lose it.
Yeah, interesting. What did you make of Mo Salah coming out? He said prior to Real Madrid making it that he wanted Real Madrid in the final, and he was spilling this kind of revenge narrative, which I thought was unusual for Mo Salah, because Mo Salah's kind of normally a smiley, chirpy type of character. But certainly he was grinding his teeth talking about this, saying he really owed these guys one. Now, so some would say that the man in question doesn't even play for them anymore. He's at PSG. So it's kind of a weird one.
And if the truth be known, Real already did that favour, didn't they? And they made sure that Ramos wasn't going to be in a final. Not that he got a game either way. But listen, I thought it was strange, I have to say. I really, really did. Mo doesn't strike me as that kind of person. Never mind player, but that kind of person at all. You know, he seems to live his life, you know, the good way, and he's chosen the right path and stuff like that for himself. It was very, very strange. And I think, you know, when you say things like that, it can have a little effect on you, because you go out and you think, I've got to do this for...
Put yourself under pressure.
Absolutely. And I mean, like, we all know how good Mo is. He didn't need to put, you know, a monkey on his back like that going into the final. And as well, I kind of don't feel like it fits his personality, you know? Like if that had been a Sergio Ramos, if that had been a Roy Keane, if that had been a Danny Alves, like a little bit of a shithouser, I would have thought, yeah, I can feel it. I can get him for Mo Salah. Mo's too nice a guy for that, to be honest with you, I have to say.
That's what I felt. I felt I could understand it, but I thought it was very out of character, like for Mo Salah.
Extremely out of character.
Interesting. And I know in the press conference yesterday, Jordan Henderson played it down quite a bit when he was asked about it. He's gone, it's not really Mo, like, you know. So, but yeah, little bit of team news, obviously, for Liverpool. Thiago obviously having a late fitness, I would imagine. He was training yesterday, doing some impromptu type of training, something different, and then he was going to join the team for training. So it looks like he's in training. Fabinho was back in training. Looked at it yesterday when I seen it. Obviously, we know Salah and Van Dijk are ready to go, but Origi obviously is out. He has a hamstring or something, or a toe strain or something for him. And he's off to AC Milan as well anyway, so he's played his last time for us. So it was a bit unlucky for him. I would have liked him to see him there.
He's somebody you absolutely may have drawn upon. You know, because he just seems like he can create chaos,
change it up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think after watching you guys in the two cup finals so far, I think you missed that sometimes, that there wasn't that change up, that everything became a little bit one dimensional. And you could have done with maybe somebody like that. But listen, you've still got Bobby who can come in and change things around a little bit. Because again, I don't think he'll start. But off the bench, he could do something for you, and try and link the play a little bit better than having, maybe just a goal scorer up front. Yeah.
Just looking at Real Madrid, they've no injury worries at the moment, but obviously the boy Camavinga, who we're very big fans of, it doesn't look like he's going to get a starting position unless something happens there in the middle of the field. It'll be Casemiro, Modric and Kroos.
Listen, it's impact off the bench, isn't it?
Yeah, and certainly did that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Brings a lot of energy, brings great work rate, but also brings a little bit of quality into that engine room if Real do decide to draw him from the bench,
Yeah, let's look at the predicted lineups. Obviously for Liverpool, Alisson. I'm thinking Konate goes in there. You thinking Konate or Matip? Konate?
After watching last week, I absolutely think Konate goes in.
Yeah, so we're looking Alisson, Konate, Van Dijk, Trent, Robertson, Fabinho, Thiago, Henderson, Salah, Mane, and Diaz. That's what I'm thinking. So we've got Jota on the bench and we have Bobby on the bench. I think that's probably what you're looking at there, is probably our strongest lineup. Now, again, this is obviously pending a few things, like if Thiago's going to be able to start. If he doesn't, then I presume Keita goes in there.
Yeah.
And that would be my big concern, because I think I find when we've had Keita, Jordan, and Fabinho in there, it lacks that little bit of creativity that you get from Thiago. And that would be a concern for me.
You're just missing that spark, aren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. For Real Madrid, Courtois, Carvajal, Militao, Alaba, Mendy, Casemiro, Kroos, Modric, Valverde, Benzema, and Vinny Jr. Is that what you're looking at? That's your thinking on
it? Who did you have Valverde in instead of? Rodrigo?
Yeah, because last time he started with Valverde, didn't he? And he brought Rodrigo on.
Yeah.
So I presume he was probably going to go with the same thing, and probably, depending on how the game is going after about 50, 60 minutes, maybe spring Rodrigo.
Well, he might be able to spring Gareth Bale or an Eden Hazard as well. They look to be included in the squads, aren't they?
He won't be springing an Eden Hazard anywhere, let's be honest about it.
No?
I wouldn't have thought so.
I don't know. Listen, we've seen what Hazard can do. He may not have done it this season for Madrid too often, but we know as English football fans how good that kid can be in his day.
We know how good he was in a blue Chelsea jersey.
Yeah, and how good he's been in a red Belgium jersey, and in a red Lille jersey. So this is the low point of his career, but he's gone through some injuries and stuff like that. I certainly don't think he's finished. You know what I mean? I think he could absolutely get involved in this game.
Yeah, well, whatever
the kind of stage that he would enjoy.
Yeah, whatever about Gareth Bale potentially getting involved, I could see that at some stage, depending on how it's going. I don't expect Eden Hazard to even get a kick of a ball in 90 minutes.
Who knows? We'll have to see.
Yeah, we will. There's a lot of players before him to get a kick of a ball before he takes to the park, I would imagine. How do you think both match up? I mean, obviously Vinny against Trent would be a concern. You're going to need either Fabinho or Hendo on the cover there as well, which obviously opens up that space then for either Cruz or Modric to move into that position. And that's
Yeah,
what we've seen them do. That would be my concern on our end, apart from the midfield conundrum if we don't have Thiago, that we could be a bit blunt in midfield.
yeah, I think the midfield's going to be huge. You know, you look at the three lads. I'm not quite sure there's a better midfield in world football than Casemiro, Kroos, and Modric. You know, yes, they're getting on a little bit. Yes, their legs aren't what they were, but they're still three unbelievable footballers. And I think they cover almost every box you could want them to cover. You know, when you look at them, you've got a guy that can tackle in there in Casemiro and breaks the play very well. You've got that passer and that tempo creator in Toni Kroos. And you've got Modric, who's always poking and prodding and looking for the next opportunity to put somebody in. So I think they're a really, really good unit in there. I would, like you, I'd be very worried if Thiago isn't fit from the off. I think Kate is a massive, massive drop in quality from what Thiago's been giving Liverpool since January. I think has been unbelievable. So yeah, I think that could be a huge problem if it happens. And I think, listen, Real are going to look at this and they're going to say, can we get Vinicius one-on-one with Trent, and can we get him there often enough to really cause problems, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be shocked if it doesn't go well. You could possibly see Joe Gomez coming on and just, you know, turn him into a right back rather than, as you know, people have said, Trent's that kind of right wing back almost, you know. I don't know. I think they're going to have to be a little more defensive in that position.
Yeah, I don't know whether if you put Joe on, no disrespect to Joe or anything like that. I mean, he's coming back after a bit of a strain as well. He went down with the knee that time, so he's only coming back in as well. But I don't know if you put Joe on, if he links up well enough with Mo Salah on that side. I'm wondering if you put Joe on, does it negate the threat of Mo Salah then? Because if you notice, most of Mo Salah's link-up play comes between himself, Trent and Jordan. And if you take Trent out of there and you don't have that sort of creativity, I understand what you're sacrificing, but if you sacrifice that, are you going to get that creativity solely between Joe and Jordan into Mo? I would doubt very much.
It'll depend how Vinicius starts the game. It'll depend how, if you can get on the front foot very, very early, can he get Alexander-Arnold booked maybe? If he gets him booked and he gets him turned and he starts causing them problems, you know, then you
might have to make the change. Yeah, I get
you might have to make the change. And then maybe, you know, you look at the left-hand side then maybe being Liverpool's predominantly area to attack with Robertson and with Diaz. And maybe you look to get Salah and Mane a little more central when they attack from the left-hand side and stuff like that. Again, I understand what you're saying. You lose a lot of the width that Trent gives to the side, and you lose that overlap, which is the option when Salah comes inside, Trent goes outside and stuff like that. But it'll very much depend for me on how the game starts off, what the tempo is like, and if Trent can get to grips with Vinicius early on. The one thing I will say, and from watching the Liverpool games, especially the cup finals, the last day, I would have said defensively, Trent was excellent against Chelsea. He was very, very good. It's one of the best games I've seen him play from a defensive point of view. So he is capable. It'll depend, you know, it's a Champions League final. It'll depend whether the nerves get to him, and it'll depend what kind of a game Vinicius has on the evening as well.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I don't know if you've seen pictures of Trent the other day where he was all wired up.
I did.
The Neuro 11 stuff. He was practicing free kicks and they were scanning the neurological stuff going on in his brain in those moments of those free kicks. It goes to show it's unbelievable. They do not leave a stone unturned these days in terms of sports science. Sure they don't. Wired up. It was like something out of a space movie. And I was thinking, how could you even feel comfortable taking a free kick, even practicing one like that? You know what I mean? He had a bag thing on his back and he was all wired up with all these nodes and stuff like that and all. It was crazy to see, but it just goes to show absolutely meticulous in their preparation, and it's shown through in both domestic cups this season anyway, that's for sure.
Being from Liverpool, it's probably not the first time he's had a bag on his back. Climbing in and out of those windows. A little cat burglar.
Can you imagine? let's look the head-to-head. There's been 8 meetings on them head-to-head. Liverpool have won 3, Real Madrid have won 4, and there's been 1 draw. So it's amazing the way both teams stylistically match up, and it's amazing the way there's nothing really between them when you think about it.
No.
In terms of quality, when you look around the park and stuff like that. So I suppose we'll get into your I'll talk about the betting first. I had a look at the betting first, obviously. So Liverpool are 21-20. I think the betting is quite a stretch, actually, to be honest. As you said, talking earlier about how both teams' pathways have been to the final. Liverpool are basically even money.
Yeah.
The draw is 5-2, and Real Madrid are 2.5-1 nearly 5-2, 12-5.
Yeah. That's
a big price for Real Madrid, isn't it?
Huge, absolutely. I personally think there's a lot of value in the draw. I think we could see more than 90 minutes. I think that's great value. But if I was going to pick a winner, I would be going to lift the trophy as opposed to with the 90-minute result, personally.
Okay, so you say this being a long night.
I think this could be a very long night.
Okay. I looked at the first goal scorer ones as well, which is interesting. So Mo Salah 4-1. Benzema 9-2, so basically nothing really in it. Mane is 6-1, and we know Mane likes a goal against Real Madrid. He has some in the past,
and he's been playing centrally. And when he gets inside the width of the post and they get the balls in from Diaz and Salah, I think Mane's a great price for a goal.
Now one that I think you might like, and a fan. We're both fans of this guy, to be honest. Even though I'm a Liverpool fan, Vinny Jr. He's 8-1 first goal scorer.
Yeah, listen, it's great value. I don't necessarily think he gets an awful lot straight out of the traps like that. But I'd be looking at the anytime rather than picking the first goal scorers, if I'm honest. I just think, you can only have one first goal scorer, whereas if it's anytime, it covers you for the 90 minutes,
Yeah, I think also the strength of the referee in this match is going to be critical as well, because this could be a situation where a referee could either create a really, really good final, or he could spoil a really, really good final. And what we've seen in previous matches where we've seen referees, they're letting stuff go, they're letting tackles go in, they're letting stuff flow, and they're hesitant enough to produce cards too quickly and stuff like that. And that's the kind of ref we need on Saturday night, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's the kind of ref we need in football in general, isn't it?
Yeah.
The problem is, we know with a lot of referees, they see themselves as the star of the show. And they're afraid to let two teams play because they feel like they maybe didn't get their opportunity to make their mark in a final. I think if you're going to be a really, really good referee, you've got to be a bit selfless, and it's got to be about everything else bar you. And if you fade into the background really, really well, you've done a great job.
Yeah, the less we hear of you, the better.
100%.
Absolutely. Right, let's get into our predictions. Give us your prediction and give us your goal scorers.
I'm predicting the draw after 90 minutes.
Okay.
I think
you're going 1-1 or 2-2.
I'm going to go 1-1. I think Benzema and Mane.
Okay.
With the draw. But I think Real will do it after 120.
Not penalties.
I think it'll be borderline, but if you're making me, pin me colours to the mast right now, I think I'm going to go Real after extra time.
Real after extra time. Who scores for
them?
Probably Rodrigo coming on, is it?
Rodrigo or Vinny.
Okay, Rodrigo or Vinny.
With the goal in extra time.
Okay. I'm going to go 3-1 Liverpool in 90 minutes.
3-1 Liverpool?
Yeah. I'm going to go 3-1. I think Liverpool are going to come out of the blocks very quick on Saturday night. I think there's boys in that team that have a point to prove. I know we spoke earlier about the revenge thing with Mo Salah and stuff like that, but I think he has the bit between his teeth. He was questioned the other day and asked about his motivation, and he said in his own little way, my motivation is up above the ceiling at the moment, which is his way of saying his motivation is through the roof. But he's a guy they'll double up on. But I think it'll be 3-1. I expect Benzema to get his goal, because I don't know if there's a defence in the world who can keep that guy out. He's absolutely brilliant. But I think for us, I think Mo will probably get a goal. And I think we could see a star being created in one Luis Diaz on the night.
Okay.
That's what I'm going for. 3-1. I'm touching every bit of wood in this room right now. Everything is crossed. I got my Thiago Pop final there behind me, so he's been there like a little shrine to make the final. But yeah, I hope we make it. I hope we do it. I'm sure most of the rest of the world, bar Barcelona, will probably hope not. But let's see what happens.
I'm just really looking forward to a good game of football.
Yeah,
as you said, I've really enjoyed watching Benzema and his renaissance. He's been phenomenal this year, and I think you're right. I think this platform was made from after everything he's been through, and with the way he's come back this year and stuff like that. I just think the guy's been phenomenal, and that's I kind of think that's why I'm sort of siding with Real. I won't be upset if Liverpool lift the trophy, and I know as a United fan I should be, but I really enjoyed watching Liverpool over the year. I think if they finish the season only with the Carabao and the FA Cup, they would be very harshly done by.
Be a tough parade for me on Sunday.
Yeah, it would. I feel like they deserve more than that, I have to say. And again, I'm sure there's United fans cursing at me on every forum I'm on at the minute, but I just think
reality is reality, isn't it? But in terms of Benzema, I mean, his work rate and his honesty in the game, but he deserves the fruits of what he gets. But I just think with what they've gone through the last 3 games and the way they've got through and stuff like that, I think to expect to try and do that a 4th time, I think might be a stretch too far.
You see, the only thing I did think was, would Lightning strike twice after the PSG? It did. Would it strike a 3rd time after the Chelsea game? It did. There's no reason why this couldn't strike a 4th. After what we've seen so far.
There's not a place on this planet where Lightning has struck 4 times.
I don't know.
I hope. I hope.
It might just be one of those goals in Paris on Saturday night.
Weather's normally good in Paris in May, isn't it? Doesn't normally get lightning.
Weather looks pretty good. I'm heading there on Thursday myself. Nice. And the weather looks really good.
I'll be over in Aintree cheering the boys on. Because we haven't got monetized yet. You need to go and hit that subscribe button. I can't afford to go to Paris. I have to go to Aintree, guys. So that's what we want. If you want to contact the show, at Session Shankly on Twitter, the Upper Tier Podcast on YouTube, also audio versions on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Music. It's been a pleasure bringing you this preview, our last preview of the season. No doubt we'll have a match reaction on Monday. Either way, I will be here, as I have been all season. What else can we say? I'm going to say, come on, you Reds. You're going to go Los Blancos, I presume.
Hala Madrid.
Till next time, my friend. A pleasure.
Thanks, buddy.